Hello everyone. Today is another episode of Bitcoin Belgium, and it's the first episode of 2023. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, and I wish all of you guys a happy 2023. For this first episode of the year, I wanted to talk about the Coinbase Institutional report, and it's covering their crypto market outlook for 2023. I think it's a very good report to have some general overview of the market and the thoughts of Coinbase Institutional. So I'm going to discuss mainly a small overview and especially the Bitcoin part. If you guys want to see me cover the other parts of the report, let me know down below, and maybe I will cover them also. So you have a report of around 50 pages. The main themes, these are the key themes for 2023, then a section about Bitcoin, then a section about Ethereum, then some layer 1, layer 2 landscape, stablecoins, NFTs, regulation, which I think is also an important part, and the Coinbase institutional update. But we're going to mainly talk about these ones, the key themes for 2023 and Bitcoin. So this is a small note of the author. Um, I think it has an important chart, the rolling 1 year Sharpe ratio, and there you can see how BTC and Ethereum portfolio has been doing against other asset classes like stocks, the Nasdaq and S&P 500, bonds, and gold. And as you can see, when crypto had a nice bull run in 2021, you can see that their Sharpe ratio was a lot higher than the rest. What it means is that you just have more return for your risk. So that I think is an important ratio to take a look at the Sharpe ratio. So this is a small introduction. These are the key themes for 2023, which I think is an important part. The first one is a flight to quality among institutional investors. What is it? What does it mean? It is like people will, for example, choose BTC and Ethereum over other coins because they are more safe, they have less risk. The second part is creative destruction that will eventually lead to new opportunities. Yeah, that's like Luna and FTX. Some things go drastically down, and it creates new opportunities for true innovation. The third one is foundational reforms that usher in a new cycle, and we're covering that in a minute. But first of all, I think this is also a really nice chart. The correlation matrix. As you can see, the correlation between BTC and Ethereum is pretty high, but we know that, of course. Also, an interesting one, I think, is the correlation between BTC and the S&P 500. It's 0.58, so it means if the S&P 500 goes up in price, then BTC is likely to do also. That's why some people say that it's also important to know what the equities markets are doing to understand what the crypto market are doing. Also, an important correlation I think is between BTC and the DXY. If the DXY goes up, then BTC, there is a chance that BTC or Ethereum drop down, but that's also the case for with equities with the Dixie. I mean, it's a fun chart to look at. So this is what I talk about. Coinbase expects digital asset selection will transition towards higher quality names like Bitcoin and Ethereum based on sustainable tokenomics, the majority of the respective ecosystems, and the relative market liquidity. Yeah, that's the second one is areas for creative destruction, which is also a good part. I mean, you can read through it. What I think is an important part is a Bitcoin miners capitulation. It means the hash rate of BTC has been the last months really high, and sometimes that's a good thing for the network. However, it is maybe not so good for some miners because miners need to be profitable in order to keep the business running, right? So when the hash rate is really high, it is harder to mine BTC. And in some countries, the electricity is really expensive. So that makes it pretty hard for miners to generate profits. And I think this is an interesting section. And Coinbase also like they say here, for that reason, we could expect the BTC mining industry to consolidate even further in 2023. I think it's a nice part. And foundational refers to reforms to spur optimism, more urgency for regulatory clarity. I think that's also the case um, because of the FTX collapse and many other things that happened, Luna, etc. There will come regulation. It can be good, I think, but it needs to be good regulation. And we'll see that in 2023, I think, for a good part. Yeah, here a path for institutional adoption. Charge 8 is an important one. Most of the institutional investors in cryptocurrencies will think 2023 will stay range bound, so we'll have a choppy year according to these institutions. Um, a small percentage thinks that will trend lower, and a really small percentage will think will trend higher. So I likely see what the year brings. The majority of the institutional investors say we will stay range bound. And this is the BTC section. I think Coinbase starts this really good with a nice overview of the year, what happened, what events happened with BTC, and I will go over the most important ones. We had Exxon announces BTC mining project. So what they do is that they use excess methane and they use it um, to mine BTC. So they generate profits and their emissions go down. So I think it's a win-win situation. Then in May of 2022, the Terra Luna collapse happened with the price dropping really hard, uh, more than 10% I think in a day or something like that. Then Celsius and Three Arms Capital dropped. They collapsed. Um, then the Grayscale BTC ETF got rejected by the SEC. In the summer, Tesla sold 75% of its BTC. This, as you can see, the red events aren't the good events, right? The green events are the positive events. Then they had a deal with BlackRock, and then Cash App adds Lightning support um, in October of 2022, which was a really good thing, I think. And then Shell also announces a BTC mining project, also I think a good thing for the space and for the BTC ecosystem especially. And then, yeah, in the last part of the year, the FTX and Alameda research collapse happened, which was a pretty big event and not in a good way. See if there is some more important information. This is BTC against the euro and the Japanese yen. You can see it's not very correlated. What you can see is that of course the euro and the yen are pretty correlated in terms of their risk adjusted performance. So it's the the return you get for your risk. Also, chart 11, it talks about the percentage of BTC holders underwater. As you can see, the time BTC bottoms was usually around um, when the percentage was around 50%. As you can see, these were the times where BTC usually found its bottom, and we're getting close to that. So we'll see how this percentage will trend a couple of months. And yeah, here you can see chart 12, the BTC and Ethereum volumes on centralized exchanges by month. Yeah, you can see in May 2021 we had that altcoin season, right? I mean, a huge volume of Ethereum, but the last months it's more BTC again. It's more of a Bitcoin season, in my opinion, I think. Yeah, this part talks again about the miners. I think it's an important part to know more specific info about all the big miners in the US, for example. And as you can see, their BTC mines for Core Scientific is pretty high. It's the highest in this chart. However, they sold also a lot of BTC, and in this article it says that their Core Scientific indicating they were potentially heading towards bankruptcy and halting all debit financing payments in October. So that's probably the reason why they sold so much BTC, because they need to pay back their debt. We also have some hodlers in this chart, like Marathon and Hut 8 Mining. Pretty insane that they didn't sold any BTC this year. We have Riot also, but they did sell some BTC, but they have also a nice reverse balance, reserve balance. So that's, I think, yeah, this part also goes about some miners that went bankrupt and are in financial problems. You can read through it. I think it has some important information. Then this part goes about the state of the Lightning Network. I mean, yeah, Lightning is such a good thing. I think it has a really nice potential for 2023. We'll see how it goes, but I think it has a really bright future. Also, something too important to think about is the Mt. Gox disbursements. But here Coinbase talks about the Mt. Gox situation will have an impact that there will come many BTC on the market. However, they think the situation is more complex than that, and they talk about why that is. And I think it's good for a good background to read these sections. And then it talks about Ethereum. So if you guys would like to see me cover other parts, for example Ethereum, stablecoins, regulation, I think regulation is a nice part of this report also. Then let me know in the comments down below. But for the rest, guys, have a very good 2023, and I'll see you in the future. Goodbye.